Alright boys, it's time for the final drive of the Jeep with the 355 because it's burning more oil than gas. Look at that beautiful cloud. I'm creating nature.
Right into the flowers.
Breathe, my children. Alright, technical difficulties. Gonna Mexicans.
Oh no! Oh no, road hazards!
Toyotas.
No! bad. Got me out here working the residential street corners. Straight chilling. They didn't even look at me. Well, here comes another customer right now. What an asshole. Guys, you won't believe it. He turned around. He's coming back. He wants my sweet legs. I'm all about it.
Well, boys, that's all she wrote for the 355 that I rebuilt for this thing. Did an oil change on it a couple weeks ago and put, you know, the 7 quarts of oil in the oil pan and went to check it last night, and the oil was just on the very tip of the dipstick, way below the add line. And yeah, so that means it probably burnt through a good 4.5 quarts of oil over the past 2 weeks, or over the past few weeks since that oil change. And last week I think I drove it like once last week. So realistically, it's probably like a week's worth of driving. As you probably saw in that in the videos, the engine's smoking pretty badly. I mean, I started up in the driveway, and by the time I put it in reverse and go up the driveway, I can see the cloud of oil fog going down the street there. So yeah, not too pleased. And also in that video, I heard a little tapping noise coming from probably the top end, so that's not great either. That means that probably something's messed up with that camshaft. So I'll probably tear into this engine either tonight or tomorrow night and get it tore down to a bare block while it's in the car, just like how I assembled it from a bare block and bottom end with it in the car. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna keep you guys posted. I'll make another video when I find out what that noise was, what went on there, and you know, why the engine ran like piss and smoked a bunch of oil. I mean, as far as smoking a bunch of oil, I think it's probably the cylinder heads, but it could be a mixture of that plus piston rings, which I'd be pretty pissed if it was the piston rings, considering those are new. The cylinder heads, I didn't have them sent out and redone. I mean, those valve guides are probably trashed, and I just had the O-ring seals on it that came with the Felpro gasket kit, which aren't the greatest. So yeah, I have no idea what happened with this engine, but I'm gonna find out. As far as future plans for this car, don't worry. It's not like this is going anywhere. You know, even if I wanted to sell it, I couldn't sell it for 1/10 of what I have into it. So I'm looking at a 305 on Marketplace. That's a couple $100. So if all works out, next week I'm gonna swing over and pick that up. Go over that 305, regasket it, see it, you know, make sure all the valve train's good, and if it is, I'll slap new gaskets on it, slap a coat of corporate blue spray paint on it, and, you know, swap some stuff over and put it in the car. Getting absolutely violated by mosquitoes right now. But anyway, yeah, I'll slap that 305 in the car, and I'll at least be able to drive it till the end of the season, till I can't drive it anymore. And then over the winter, I'm gonna save up for a 350 crate motor, which is gonna be a lot of money, but I would rather do that than have this engine molested again, because this engine's probably no good now. And I don't want to have to, you know, I wouldn't want them to bore it out any further than it's already bored out, because 355s, once you get higher than 30 or 60 over, then you have to worry about head gaskets blowing, and especially in between the two in the very middle of the head. I know that's notorious for blowing on overboard small block Chevys. So yeah, I got this. I got the fenders and the hood taken off. Once the engine cools down and there's no pressure in the coolant system, I'm going to have the radiator support or the grill shell taken out and drain the radiator and all that, and then rip into this engine. But yeah, as far as, you know, how I feel about it, it's whatever. I mean, I didn't have any hope that this engine was gonna last long. I was hoping it would last at least till the end of the summer, but obviously small block Chevy God had other plans. But I mean, you know, I take full accountability for this engine blowing up. You know, I didn't really be super careful with the engine rebuild. I mean, I did the engine rebuild in that corner right there. It's not like I had it in a sanitary room or anything. So, and I didn't, you know, there was like metal paste residue on the heads that I just didn't clean off. So, I mean, you know, this engine's pretty much toast. I'm gonna, like I said, I don't want to rebuild it because there's no point. So I'm basically gonna gut the bottom end out of it, gut the cam out of it, gut the cylinder heads, you know, basically strip it off to a bare block and then just slap the heads back on with a couple bolts, slap the intake back on with a couple bolts, you know, have the engine completely drained, either leave that valve oil pan on or swap the oil pan off, whatever 305 I buy, and put that on there. And then this is going to be a killer conversation piece for my bedroom because, yeah, I mean, there's nothing else I want to do with it, and there's no point in trying to sell it. You know, nobody's going to want a small block Chevy that's toast, even if it is a 355. And I say I might keep this oil pan on here and just use a stock one on that 305 because that oil drain is going straight into my exhaust, and I honestly don't like the fact that the oil drains out the side. I would much rather it drain out the bottom or angled. Yeah, as far as other issues I've been having, apart from that, the engine still is leaking oil out of the back somewhere. I think it's the rear main seal, because I looked up top behind the intake where it was leaking before, and it's totally dry. Valve cover gaskets are totally dry. Oil pressure sender is totally dry. Distributor seal is totally dry. So it's definitely the rear main seal leaking. I assumed it would leak because it's a two-piece and they're crap. So, yeah. The other issue I've been having is, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but that transmission is sopping wet with ATF. And I think it's either the torque converter is bad or the torque converter seal is bad. So when I take this engine out, I'm going to take the trans off first. Either leave it sitting on the skid plate or take it all the way out. I'll probably just leave it sitting on the skid plate and ratchet strap it. And I'll yank the torque converter off and check and see, you know, maybe it's just the seal that's bad. If I can, you know, visually inspect the seal and make sure it's not, make sure if I see the seal's ripped or, you know, warped in some way, then I'll be able to just replace that seal. But either way, I want to get a stall converter for this thing because that converter that's in it is out of a 70 Pontiac Le Mans, and it is stalled for a vehicle that is a lot heavier than this thing. So, you know, you're sitting at stoplights and it kind of wants to jerk forward as you're sitting there, even with the brakes on. So, yeah. Yeah, so basically the plan with this is yank this engine out, tear it apart, gut it, slap it back together, make it look like an engine on the outside, and stick it upstairs, and put another engine in there just so I can drive it while I'm waiting on the money to be able to afford a crate motor. And then once that crate motor comes, put the crate motor in, either sell or mothball the other engine. And, you know, if I mothball it, I'll have it as a backup in case the crate motor blows up, but ideally it wouldn't. But yeah, this is just the experience of rebuilding your own engine with not a lot of training. I rebuilt the original 4-cylinder that was in here, and it did the same thing. I rebuilt it because it had blow by. It was fine for a while, and then it got blow by again. So, yep, it's another kill to add to my count as far as engines go. So, yeah, that's gonna be it. Well, there you have it, guys. Got the engine completely torn down apart from the bottom end. Got the front end torn down apart from the grill shell. I haven't taken the cam out yet, but all the lifters look fine. And yeah, I mean, as far as I can tell, I'm going to be looking forward to taking the oil pan off, taking the engine out, not in that order, but I'm going to be looking forward to getting to that bottom end, because I think that's where the problem lies as far as all the metal in the engine. But I mean, you could see these pistons, which were clean when I put them in, are now all sooty with clean spots in them. So usually that's a sign that your piston rings are screwed. Same thing on this side, except this side, this piston is pretty clean for the most part. I mean, it's pretty much how it is when I put it in. And it's weird because this side, the exhaust manifold was wet on the inside with oil. So, yeah. Anyway, minor setback there. But, so yeah, I am 99% sure the metal in the oil is from the bottom end somewhere. And yeah, so gonna get that 305 or another engine off Marketplace, go through it and put new gaskets in it and slap it in the car just to drive it. And then this thing is gonna get mothballed and made into a funny room decor piece, because I have no use for it. There's literally no reason for me to rebuild this. I mean, I already rebuilt it once, and I mean, I could have it professionally rebuilt, but at the same time, it's not really worth it. Just because it's a bunch of minor things, but I really just don't want to bother. I'll just get a crate motor. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video, guys. Majorly disappointing, but not the end of the world. We will come back. So I'll see you guys in the next video.